people, welcome back to Techie Expert. I'm Alicia, your host, and today we have a very intelligent IT person with us whose name is Anirudh Kala. He is the co-founder, director, and chief data scientist at Syllable Technologies. And he's a very inspiring person and a very intelligent person. So Anirudh, welcome to Techie Expert and thank you for your precious time.
Thanks for having me here, Alicia. Pleasure is all mine.
So Anirudh, my first question to you is, can you explain to our audience what Syllable Technology is all about?
So Syllable Tech was co-founded by me and Anupam in the year 2016 in Jaipur. Anupam left his US job. I returned back from the US in 2015 and started this. We thought of starting something in our hometown, that is Jaipur, and specifically on cloud. We saw the new wave of cloud coming in enterprise, and that's what we thought would revolutionize the space in the next 1 decade, as IT has done, or maybe the tech has done in the last one to 2 decades. We thought of doing that from our hometown, and it came out like the right decision for us. We chose a public cloud and we started working on it. And since then, we've grown to a 9-digit revenue and in fact 10-digit revenue now, and about 800 folks in the company.
So Anirudh, what motivated you to start this company and what is the idea behind the name Syllable?
So in all honesty, I would say Syllable basically was it's a combination of it's a Latin word which basically means dream to achieve, right? Basically it's so even in the Latin word had Latin the Latin ecosystem has been like where you've got multiple variations of a word. So Syllable is actually a variation of a word called Cellibilita. Cellibilita, from there you get this word Syllable, which means dream to achieve. And basically the motivation behind Syllable was specifically to run a niche consulting / product company out of a tier 2 town, which was our town, Jaipur, and serve the enterprise world where we've been serving with the large consulting companies in our past lives. We also thought that this is the right time to really go and nurture the talent that's in and around in our tier 2 or tier 3 cities, and maybe get them on the forefront of technology, which is the cloud and AI. And we thought of doing it. We did a pilot project and it came out very successful. And that's when we had the Eureka moment and we thought, let's go for it. And that's how we started the company rather.
That's quite interesting actually. So are there any regulatory implication to migrate data to cloud, because our audience don't know about how it actually works from inside?
So there are some regulations, of course. I mean, the most impacted sector by regulation would be banking and the financial services. But if you see in the last 1.5 years, I would say notably 18 months, this regulation has not just been liberalized, but it has become more pertinent. So right now, if I talk about some of the largest banks in this country, let go of the US, but let's say even the most compliant banks in this country are going to the cloud. So regulation will still continue to exist, but with the right technology and compliance in place, it could be taken care of. Now, regulation like a PII data, personally identifiable information. Now that could be very put on the cloud, because that's not something you process in the cloud. So most of the regulations are taken care of. If you're keeping your data in the country, the PII is must, and access to data is well defined, and there's a governance layer on top of it. So if you define all these criteria, you meet these all criteria. Every bank is also I can't name them, but think about the biggest bank in this country, both from private sector and public sector. Both of them are going onto the cloud. That depends on what cloud to basis the compliance.
Okay. So what, according to you, is better, to host a public cloud or to go for a private cloud?
Well, the fact remains that public cloud will dominate this market for the next 1 to 2 decades. Notably because they do offer a bouquet of services which are complete and ubiquitous. Now, I can't go for my app modernization to a private cloud, and then I can't go for my analytics for public cloud. Then I can't go for my AI ecosystem to yet another cloud. I need to have one ecosystem which serves all of it, which today only public cloud could do, right? And if you look at the public cloud, primarily the leader in this space, in my opinion, is Azure, and that too by far. Then AWS and Google. AWS, of course, was the market lead, but then Azure took over specifically because of its enterprise reach. Now, if you look at these three clouds, and if I combine them and call them public cloud, then there is nothing outside of these three clouds that would exist. Or I mean, even Salesforce exists, but let's say that's part of one of the clouds. So any organization that's looking for a digital transformation will choose one of these clouds, primarily because they will look for one-stop shop for all of their needs, whether it's analytics, app modernization, lift and shift, security, infrastructure. All of that will come from any of these public cloud, and more prominently Azure. And that's why I think it has to be a public cloud economy in the next 10 to 20 years.
Okay, that's quite informative. So, as a co-founder, have you faced like problems during the pandemic, and what were the problems you faced?
Well, to be honest with you, initially when we heard the lockdown on 23rd of March 2020, we thought we had no clue because we did not know what's going to happen, and we had to think about what would be the repercussions of this lockdown. Would the industry sustain? Because we had loads of customers in pharma, CPG, where you need people in the factory. The banking can survive even without people going to the bank, but even that was not possible. So we were very cautious and we were looking at how will it shape out. Fortunately for us, for tech industry specifically, this has been a blessing in disguise because it has accelerated the digital transformation. Those who thought of cloud as a luxury have now acknowledged it as a necessity and not a luxury anymore, right? You got to have a cloud platform, you got to have the automation, you got to have serverless, you got to have managed ecosystems that could run your operations. And for someone like us, it was a feast because most customers were just looking for resources. And that's why if you see the market today, it's a bidding war for tech resources. Everyone is kind of going for a tech. I mean, there's a good talent. Maybe that person will hold about 10 to 20 offers because everyone's looking for talent. So for tech, this has been a boon because it has accelerated the digital transformations. Alisha.
Right. How your company differentiate itself from other cloud computing companies? So
as a native, enterprise-based or enterprise-focused organization, we started at a very nascent phase when these enterprises were actually migrating to the cloud. So initially it was only startups or unicorns that were born in the cloud. But let's say if I talk about a big steel company in India, would that steel company start its operation on the cloud? It would not be a possibility, let's say in 2015 or 16, right? But when we saw the future coming in specific for the cloud with respect to these enterprise, we were able to create solution or ecosystem that would support these kind of economies. And that's been our, I think, USP, that we understand the enterprise ecosystem as much as we understand the cloud economies. And thus we're able to kind of marry them better. And that's why if I look at my customer base, it's majorly the large customers. Think about any big customer in India, that'll be a customer for us, purely because we kind of offer them the right analytics or a cloud-based offering coupled with their enterprise needs. Alisha.
Right. So I want to know what are your future plans and what strategy do you use to reach your target audience?
So we intend to grow in this space at least for the next 24 months is what we've envisioned for ourselves. We do see the market growing at least for the next 18 to 24 months with the same velocity. And within India itself, we don't have to really look out for a US market. So our strategy remains consistent. We'll of course go out for the US market because it'll be the money-making business. But strategy and strategically, the Indian market is very strong, very, very strong. So we would continue to grow in this space, specifically looking at the BFSI sector because that's growing right now. There's a plethora of opportunities specifically for BFSI, and that's where we believe there's a potential for not just for us, but any new startup or any company looking to get into this space. I think BFSI is a place to be.
Exactly. So what are your plans? Is there any new projects you're planning?
So we are very bullish about the conversational ecosystem. We believe that applications, there's a paradigm that we are used to. For example, you go to Facebook, no one has to teach you Facebook, right? You go and start using it, right? That's how these organizations evolved. They started creating applications that was self-understood. So if you go to a HR application today in a big enterprise, the idea is they don't want you to be trained on it. In terms of using it, you should be able to go and use it. But that paradigm is now changing. The paradigm will shift to conversation analytics. There will be a concept of not knowing anything what is in the application. There'll be a bot, you go and ask, what can I do? I want to send money to my friend, I want to pay my bill. You don't really need to know where exactly is the section for paying the bill, where exactly is the section for transferring funds. How do you do that? You need to have an assistant. Just go and ask that assistant on their system, and there you are. You should be able to you should be able to use that system without knowing how to use it, and in a much more empathetic way, where the system understands your needs and tells you what is needed, let's say while you're on the move. And we believe the organizations are going in the direction where they'll have the conversation analytics as a major paradigm, or conversation as a major paradigm of communication with the customers. And that's what we are working on. So we are primarily working on a voice-based bot, IVR automation bots. So for example, if you have a challenge with respect to your mobile bill, right? So you call up the call center, then they will say, okay, press 1 for this, press 2 for 3, 4 for this, press 3 for X, press 4 for Y. And then you kind of traverse the tree and finally reach a point where you get frustrated and you have to search for the number, how to connect to the agent, and finally you get it done through the agent. What if you call and you say, okay, I want to enable the international roaming on my mobile, and please send me my last month's bill. Right. That's it. Bot will talk to you, maybe negotiate with you, okay, what plan, XYZ, and that's it. You are done. So you're talking to a bot like you're talking to a human being, and that'll be the end of it. So use the customers overall time, improve the customer experience. And again, as I said, the most impacted economy for this would be the BFSI, because you yourself would know how many calls you get from the banks every single day, and could that be more valuable to you, is what the bank is also looking for. And that's where we believe is a huge play for us, and that's why we're kind of building this product.
This is very interesting and amazing at the same time. So I want to know what offerings your company is providing to other businesses, so that our audience also come to know what they can get from you.
Sure. So primarily, as I said, we are a cloud analytics provider. So we enable the analytics journey for an organization. So imagine you are a banking or an NBFC or an insurance or a retail, pharma, CPG customer or a manufacturing customer, and you want to modernize your financial system, let's say financial analytics. You want to ensure that all your sales orders are visible to you on a click of a button. You can query what's your pipeline. You can see what's your invoice status, what the invoice status is. You can look at your cash flow, and you can predict your cash flow, and all of this on a mobile phone on one click, right? So we could enable that for you. Now that would require in modernizing your ERP, pushing that to the cloud, running analytics on the cloud, creating those reports which are relevant, and putting that on the cloud. Now with all of this, what we would do is we would also run the AI algorithms which would predict the cash flow analysis, cash flow for you, or the invoice approval status, and so on and so forth. So basically, that's the true digital transformation, where everything is available to you on a digital medium without any manual intervention. You're not asking your team to actually take an invoice, read it, make an entry in the system, then put it in the system. Then I'll open up a report, drill down, see that number, and ask for the reason. Imagine an invoice coming into the system is automatically read and parsed, and then once it is parsed, it is parsed. It is sent to the payment proposal economy, and from there it is actually let's say it's visible to a CXO for any kind of analytics. So that's one of the kind of things that we do. We do similar things in supply chain, procurement, logistics, and then on top of it, there's a lot of cognitive NLP stuff that I talked about, the conversational analytics that we help our customers with. We've got solutions in this space which are primarily on Azure, and as we said, we believe in Azure as an economy because of its enterprise friendliness. So all our solutions, they go on Azure. Our primary solutions are with respect to SAP Analytics, which involves supply chain, material management, inventory, demand analytics. And when it comes to BFSI, it is primarily customer analytics, where what is to be offered to a customer, what is the right loan amount, credit underwriting. So these are some of the solutions that we help our customers with. And this basically truly makes us a data driven organization, or we help our customers become a true data driven organization.
Okay, so this is very dynamic, and your company is offering literally many things actually. So, my last question to you: what advice would you like to give to tech-savvy people or people who want to enter this industry?
So I think your awareness with respect to cloud is going to be of paramount importance, because the cloud is no more a non-tangible economy. It's something very conspicuous today. You will see the conspicuous benefit out of it as you start using it. Organizations more than ever are moving to the cloud. I mean, if you look at the cloud growth for all three clouds, Azure, AWS, and Google, you'll see it's in double digit and probably could touch triple digit for some of the other public clouds. So your stickiness towards cloud will help you grow in the next few years. Specifically technology, I mean, go for the technology ecosystems which offer openness, which offer transparency and compliance, which would probably mean one of the three clouds, primarily as I said, Azure. Because you'll see that openness now when a customer, let's say, plans to go to a cloud, you ensure that they have the real understanding of how would the data be residing. Will it be contained in a secured ecosystem? What if someone intrudes into that system? Will it be encrypted? Will they have the option of taking the data away from the system? And if you could be someone who could help them, there is a huge massive needs for all of these kind of economies. And thus, I believe someone who's starting their career, cloud analytics is going to rule this space for the next, as I said, maybe 60 months to 84 months, 5 to 7 years on a high level. But I think this right now it's the best time to be in the cloud, or it's the best time to be in tech, and to make the most of it. Invest your time in analytics and cloud, as I said, because that's in need of the hour.
So thank you, Anirudh, for such amazing advice. And my last thing I want from your side is few words for our techie expert.
Well, I would say from a tech perspective, I think there's a right time. So I mean, I don't think there's any better time for you guys to really create that value in the market. I'm sure people or your viewers will are really enriched when they kind of hear the conversation that you have with the different kind of folks. We of course have a subscription to Tech Expert specifically to gain the newer insights. I think the Tech Experts and the audience of Tech Experts, for both, I believe the agility is the important aspect. If you are offering something, if someone is offering something in the market, the ability to execute that and agility with respect to that execution is the key. And so if you come across any solution provider or any expert who is doing that, give them the due attention and probably propagate that to your audience, because agility is the key today in the market, and so whosoever comes and delivers first gets the biggest pie.
So thank you. So audience, that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this interview, and if you have any question, you can ask in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe to Techie Expert YouTube channel, and also follow our Instagram. And Anirudh, thank you so much for your precious time and so much of cloud computing information that actually we didn't knew it was there. So thank you.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me.